Thank you so much for coming back. Day after the glorious final WCAC Basketball Tournament. Kevin, will you be a checker outer for us?
You got Coach, right? He's not being blocked.
Yeah. Do you want anything?
Yes, please. We're going to start here in 1 second, everybody. But thank you so much
Take it
for
out
having.
and
We're,
hold
we're
it
just like
back.
stretching
There
it
you go.
out. I know this guy here to my left is all chaired out after the last 2 days.
Oh, really? He's all fucking chaired out.
Take
What
it
the fuck,
easy,
man?
Take it easy. Hey,
You always forget about me.
I do.
Are we live?
Oh, we're live.
Oh,
Yeah,
I dropped an
Not
F.
as strong.
Sorry.
you sure did.
Sorry.
Darren's not as strong on
I was trying to make a joke.
What's that? Oh yeah, you're not on.
No.
There you are.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah,
What
we're
song
good.
about it? Want to hear it? Here it goes. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo, and I think the first words out of my mouth on this evening should be congratulations to Gonzaga and welcoming Coach Steve Turner. Amazing performance, my friend. You are the reason for the season, for us anyways, especially for tonight. Thanks for joining the WCAC Spectacular.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Oh, let's do some introductions. Got Kevin Ricka here on my left.
Coach, thanks for bringing that shiny young thing right there. It's an every other year thing for you at this point, isn't it?
Out of the last 5, yes.
Yes, sir.
He's Tim Strachan.
As a DeMatha grad, I'm getting Gonzaga championship fatigue, if you don't mind. But I was
talking
so happy and
Potty
proud to be a
mouth.
part of everything that we did this weekend. But to see what you did and knowing you personally as well, just very, very, very happy for you.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
He's Darren McClinton, a.k.a. Froghorn Leghorn.
Thanks for having me on the WCAC Spectacular. Got my guy here, longtime family friend. It was good to see Moms there. And, I'm very, very happy for you, man. Less than 24 hours ago, you were. Did they give you a Gatorade bath or?
They got me.
They got you.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
They got me. I think Anwar let it.
Why not? He did everything else.
He did
didn't
everything else. That's right.
He did.
All right, so thanks for coming back for another day of WCAC basketball. Started on Sunday with 4 games. It didn't start on Sunday, but the tournament at American University started on Sunday. 4 semifinal games, 2 girls, 2 boys. Yesterday, last night, Monday night, we had just a ridiculously full house with a crazy energy and juice to the no offense to the juice that's already in this room right now. That's the juice we feel tonight, sitting over on the far side. But the energy that was going on in that building was insane. Not to mention claustrophobic. I always loved the WCAC. They managed to get 1,000 people in a 700-person space. Never fails.
It doesn't, especially at this time of the year in the playoffs. To have those semifinals set up the way they were, having, especially on the girls' side, I thought 2 teams who were number 1 and number 2 for a long stretch of the year, and not just in the area, but in the country.
Yep.
That started it off right on the championship.
But the semi girls games didn't disappoint either.
Oh, they did not. They definitely did not. It's funny because the 2 that ended up losing, I saw them play each other in a game at the end of the year, and I said, hey, if they have it going on the right night, they could have been one of the ones to upset one of those top 2 teams.
Well, that's cool coming from you because I know for us this weekend started on Saturday with a phone call to Darren that I got to be included in to give us a little scouting report on the boys. Much appreciated. Then I saw you setting up shop real early for that first girls game. You weren't going to miss it either, sitting there on press
You
row.
have front row seat.
Yeah.
Every year, front row seat. I get out there for all the games.
Yeah.
I just want to support our league and on both sides. And I'm just a hoops guy, man. It doesn't matter who's playing.
Well, you're
boys,
a coach
girls.
too. You're always looking for something to pick up, right?
Yeah, that too.
Hey, that was cool to see, Coach. That was cool to see.
That plays
Cribbing notes the whole time.
perfectly into kind of what I thought we would do. We got Coach Turner all night long on the WCAC Spectacular, and then on the Hot Box following directly after this show. I thought we would kind of talk about the experience that was the last few days, and so I'll lead off with something brief. I want to talk about best moments, throughout the whole thing, including maybe something you might have seen when you were sitting there next to us on the sidelines on Sunday. When Kevin and I were watching one part yesterday of the replay and listening to Darren, who nicknamed Was it Ish Leggett?
Ish Leggett.
Ish Leggett.
Baking soda.
Baking soda.
Baking soda. All right. So
Do you understand it at all yet? Okay.
A lot of uses.
a lot of
You
uses.
know, and
Baking.
you have a baking
soda.
soda player on your team too, in Anwar Gill.
Well, he
I
did.
see,
Yes.
so
yes.
I
But hold
I'm a
on.
traditional Swiss Army knife for Antoine Gill.
Swiss Army knife.
Mark
I like
Gill.
that
I
one.
like that one.
But,
But
out
that-
of nowhere.
his Swiss Army knife is baking soda.
No. Ish Leggett is baking soda. The
That's
way that
true.
it worked throughout the whole time. Anytime he made a play, we'd all be talking. Everyone would be having it. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like almost from the corner, you just hear this baking soda. And it was just, that's all he would say for like
You
2
need him
minutes.
to go get a hustle play, grab a
was the
50-50
best.
ball. You need him to crash the offensive glass. You need him to play 94 feet of pressure on the ball defense.
awesome.
Knock down an open three.
It made it.
Talented young man.
It was all in
made
the
it fun.
delivery, by
It
the
was
way. It was
amazing
all in the delivery.
Yes, it was. It was a perfectly timed contribution.
I got a few of those in my bag.
All right. I know you do. What about you, Coach? Outside of let's set your game aside for the moment, just for a second. In the tournament on Sunday, maybe, or in the girls' final, what did you see that stood out to you?
And the girls' play is just how the game has grown. I mean, you put Asa on any of our teams,
Yeah.
it might change the tournament. I mean, her skill set and her ability to
You heard it
to
right
play
here.
the way that she
Absolutely.
does, she could be a difference maker in the boys' level at the game and the way she plays the game today. Her 1-2 dribble pull up is as good as anybody's in the game. Her ability to step through when she's driving to the rim and put you on her shoulder and get to the finish. She's got a skill set that is pretty much as good as most of the best players in our league.
And she rises up and does nothing but hit the bottom of the net.
Well, people sitting next to me kept laughing because I kept saying, bucket, as soon as she let it go. And then she was swishing it. And they were like, how do you know? I
Sweet
said,
and smooth
just
like
watching
honey,
her
man.
play, she's got a little bit of Ray Allen, Rip Hamilton in her game in terms of the way she shoots the ball and gets to her spots to get the buckets that she wants.
Isn't that what you said? Did you make? We had a Rip Hamilton
Rip
reference
Hamilton.
Yeah, you said
over
Rip.
the weekend. I think that was true.
Great
Yeah,
minds
she
think
was worth
alike.
the price of admission.
You know, and even in the championship game, I thought she did a tremendous job when they were trying to do so much to take it away that she was able to be more of a point off guard because they played through her. Like, she didn't have to score for them the whole time to win. When they would put a pressure against her, she would find the next person. She kept making a lot
She
of
has a high IQ too.
She
I
does.
mean,
And kept making a lot of what I like to call the hockey assist. It was plays that started with her to maybe the next person to get theirs.
That's absolutely right. They went down 8 in the third quarter, and they got back into that game with hockey assists and her taking pressure off the guards, coming up with that on-ball pressure that they were getting from McNamara's ridiculously talented defensive guards. And they were down 8. They scored 10 points in less than, I think, a minute and 10 seconds. She didn't have any of them, but she was involved in all of them.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, and congratulations to Coach John Scribner and the St. John's Cadets for their championship performance. They are the girls' champions this year. They earned every bit of it, obviously, from this McNamara grad. I was it was an awesome game to see. My school in a final, but it's a joy to watch both of those rosters
And
play.
you got to take your hat off to Frank Oliver and Lady Mustangs as well. They've had a great. They're not finished yet.
Yeah,
they've-
no, keep going.
They've had a great season. Their only 3 losses are to St. John's.
Yeah.
You know, they've beaten everybody else that they face, and that's
Everybody
nationwide.
else. Riverdale is the number 7 team in the country. They have 1 loss, and then they were down in Tennessee, and they lost by 40 to Frank Oliver and the McNamara Mustangs. They're top 7 in the country with 1 loss by 40. I mean, these girls have 5 top 20 wins in the schedule. You know what? I think they just couldn't get by the best team in the country.
Right.
Sure.
But I'm telling you what, that team's resume is ridiculous, and they're going to sweep through this Maryland State private school tournament.
I also have to give someone their due, and a school their due. Bishop Ireton, the girls team was very, very good as well. In my moment, actually, of the whole weekend, because you go to those tournaments expecting to see great plays. The one that stuck out to me was Miss Conquo, running the fast break, getting the rebound herself or getting the steal twice in a row, running a fast break as if she was a point guard at her size and her ability. That was something that really stood out to
Now,
me
Tim, I've seen a couple
from the whole weekend.
I've seen a couple
would
tweets
agree.
to attest to what you're saying. I've seen a couple of tweets where we've got young ladies now in high school dunking the basketball, and they're built so powerfully and athletically, and the way that they can move out on the court, it's just amazing how far the girls' game has come, and she's an example of that.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Leading the break,
yes.
putbacks.
The breaks themselves were just the one thing that I was like, wow.
Between her and Maddie
you
Scott,
expect to be wowed, but that was where I was not expecting to be wowed, and she wowed me. It was great.
those are two athletic girls that, you don't see too many of those. And, it was just a testament of how far the girls' game has come. And it's very exciting brand of basketball.
You brought up Maddie Scott. I thought if there was one person I thought they could have played through a little more in the championship was her, based on what she did in the semifinals.
You wouldn't want to come closer to that.
And I thought that they would have played through her a little more, they may have ended up winning that game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was surprised at her playmaking ability. I thought she was more of a slasher and mid-range jump shooter and a rebounder, but they were going through her a couple of possessions. I thought, like you said, I thought they could have done that a little bit more. She can be a point forward. She's like a Scottie Pippen type to me.
I think we'll see a lot of that next season, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, she's a top 35.
How about Lizzie Thibodeau, the assassin from behind the three-point line?
3 straight possessions.
That was
to
awesome.
cut they were down by 1 million. She cut it to 47-41.
That reminds me
Put
of
them
my
back.
jumper.
Yeah.
Nothing but nylon.
Hey,
No, she sent them into that game.
Correct.
With a go-ahead three-pointer in the
Quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals.
Yeah, I watched
over
that.
at DeMatha. She came off like she's done thousands of times in the gym by herself.
Yep, Froghorn style, right?
Froghorn.
Yeah, we got to check the Capri Sun of
Gotta
this house,
appreciate
Ken. I don't know
that.
what's in there, man.
If we're
Gotta
sticking with the
appreciate
girls
that.
for a second, my favorite player, though, watching all weekend was Carla Rivera. She is so fun to watch because she's not the scorer who's going to put in, 20 points or anything like that. But it's the way she plays the game and how she's always looking up and she's always looking to make the next play. She's like a chess player, like you said, a hockey assist and stuff. She was amazing. She was absolutely amazing and so fun to watch. I would love for my girls to emulate their game after her.
She's definitely the straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her and Malou have great careers. It's going to be interesting to watch Scribner put the pieces in place, to fill up those two gaps. But I think
he's got AZ for like 2 more.
I
years,
know.
so.
I know. There's a lot you can do there for sure.
Well,
that helps.
Let's also not forget my favorite moment of the weekend is we at the games.
I was just going to say this, but you say it because I wanted to make sure we said it.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, but
Yeah.
I'll let you. I went through the stat line. AC Alex Cowan filled up a stat sheet in 90 seconds of win with
Crafty.
the close. And, I mean, she took the charge that Aaliyah got fouled out on. She
Crafty.
comes down, drops off the dime for Carly to knock down the 3. She gets the rebound. She gets the steal, finishes the N1, makes the free throw, gets the next rebound, gets fouled, and knocks 2 more in. All of a sudden, I read that stat line out while AZ and Alex Cowan were standing there. And my favorite moment of the weekend was AZ putting her arm around Alex Cowan and going, "Wow, Alex." Like, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, it hits you. She's an assassin on the court. We talked about her skill set and how nasty she is. She's just a 15-year-old kid with a big, huge heart. She had big old dimply smile, and she saw one of her best friends just got called out for what she did to help win the championship.
Yes.
She looked at her with a big, wide-eyed grin, put her arm around her, and said, "Wow, Alex, nice." I was like, these kids, the kids make everything go around for us. It's why we're here. It's why we do it. And to see that was real special.
And
Very cool.
before we get to the game, the game of the weekend,
we're getting there. We're building
one
it
other moment I thought it bears pointing out. If you didn't watch it, I got good news. You can go back on First Amendment Sports YouTube channel and pull up the semifinal boys on Sunday. And during the St. John's and DeMatha game at halftime, the team manager Vinnie Morin is out all by himself on the floor, waiting for
I
the
was
team to come
chasing
back
stats. Tell me
out.
what
You were
happened.
chasing stats. I think I could see you on the screen chasing stats. So, in the last game of the season, St. John's against the Heights, they suited up the team managers, and Vinnie Morin was like four
Hit
for
4
6
threes
Yes,
in a row.
yes.
from 3-point land. There's video of it. His teammates are going crazy, and they're loving it. So at halftime between St. John's and DeMatha, he comes out and he's got a ball and he's dribbling it and he's all by himself on the floor. And Kevin and I are watching this, and so we just start talking about him and his game, and then he just starts draining threes. Literally just
5
draining threes.
for 5
He
while
just
we were
wouldn't stop.
analyzing his game.
So we're just talking about that.
This is his one shining moment.
It was
It's
ama-
the big stage.
His mom reached out to Kevin. It was like, that was the greatest thing that, greatest part of our year. I mean, it was fun, and he's a good kid, and I know that if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's
think
fun.
but
How does form look,
Steve,
Strack?
it looks great. But Steve, I think it also shows the depth of the weekend.
Yeah.
It does. It just shows how much this is a really cool thing, and how and like Kevin said, like why we do this stuff, man. It's great.
Yeah, we got to talk to all those guys we mentioned.
With his dad having a health scare this year, one of
Yeah.
our dear friends, Vinny
Yeah.
Moore, and great to see him up and at it. It was a tough year for the young man, and he's been a great kid. We gave him a ride home. We had a meeting over there at St. John's talking about the business, and he was outside. It was freezing cold, and I said, "You need a ride home?" He said, "Yeah, we all live in the same neighborhood." We had him in the back of the car. I mean, what a delight to be around. And after a tough struggle for him this year,
Yeah.
it was a really special moment for him and his family.
Thank God
And
Vinny's doing well.
when he got out there and hit 4 threes. But when he went 5 for 5 on the court the other day, Ken and I are dying laughing. He comes over and starts shaking hands with us. I said, "We're talking about you. Get back out there."
Yeah.
I know. He worked his ball handling,
Taking
his
a break.
skills. Yeah,
Those are the stories I like.
that's good. That's what basketball is all about, man.
So, without further ado, we did find ourselves, after a big win on Sunday for the Purple Eagles, we found ourselves in a final between two high schools that have played each other many, many times over the years. We call it the oldest rivalry in Catholic
Catholic
high school
rivalry,
sports.
yes.
Gonzaga St. John's.
Before we get
Before
into
we do
that, this was before the game, and I made a reference on there about this, and I know it's tradition that before the boys' game, you're gonna call out the all conference team
teams,
and the coaches on the girls' side and the boys' side. So you've got both teams warming up, and then they stop the clock with 5 minutes.
Yes.
I'm always looking over. I'm looking at body language, and I look over there and I see Coach Turner, and he's sitting over there, and I know he's ready. And everybody's antsy, and everybody's ready to roll, and this is the build-up is there, and then we stop the clock. I understand it's tradition. It has to be done. It's done every year, but now as a coach and as a player, you have to sit down, watch it, and then have to rev your engine back up again and try to get that get those juices flowing in that last 5 minutes to get ready to rumble. And I saw you over there kind of slunched over in your chair like, let's go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for action. You know what I mean?
Definitely. The anxiety all day was killing me because it's a long day.
Yes.
To play the last game, 8 o'clock, to go through a regular school day, work day. I was at that point where I was like, enough is enough. I even said to because the guy who's calling the game calls a lot of our games at our school, and Jeff Beckett, and I just kept looking down, like trying to tell him, like, speed it up, man.
Yeah.
Just call the names out.
I can imagine.
And then like no other year, you had all the parents come out this year to want to take their own individual pictures versus just the professional pictures that they could all get copies of. So that took even longer.
Yep.
So at that point, I didn't even really think we had a good warm-up. At one point, I said to my assistant coach, I said, I don't like how we look. And then that happens. Yeah, I was fuming a little bit.
I've said it down here a million times. There's nothing worse, Coach, than the minutes leading up. Those minutes last for hours leading up to whether it be kickoff or the tip. I always hated it. Marty Favret, an old Gonzaga guy, was my coach at Catholic University. By the time I was a sophomore after freshman year, when he saw what he saw out of me, he went into the stands and would get one of my little brothers, who were like 7 or 8 at the time, bring them down onto the stands and make me go play catch with him to get me away from him and everyone else. Because when someone else is about to hop into the driver's seat, you don't know what's going on. And before that switch occurs, before the Hulk turns green, you can't be. You got to be on a schedule. It's had to be driving you nuts.
Well, I don't know which minutes were worse. Was the last 30 seconds? Or those 5 minutes?
Yeah.
True.
To be honest with you.
Because from my playing days, I know that I used to kind of get myself into a routine, and I used to have a certain kind of warm up, and my intensity level would increase as the game got closer. And then from my coaching days, I'd know who I can watch during warm ups, and I'd say, oh, he's ready to play, or he might not have it today. You know what I mean? Because you can see tendencies, and you see body language and things like that. So it's hard to break that 30 minutes up, that you get before a game, and have to sit down and then get back up and get back going. It's like, all right, who can I depend on? But there's a couple of guys that a few guys that that you can depend on. We'll get to that in a
all
minute.
that anxiety was for naught because of the way your boys came out and executed in that first
Right
half.
off the bat.
I thought the execution, the game plan, the execution by your boys is what really separated the point difference in that first half.
It definitely did. I mean, this has been a resilient team for me this year, and there's been some ups and downs throughout the season. Different injuries, Chuck out for a couple weeks. Josh Wass saw some time out. And, Devin Dinkins, my backup point guard, saw some time out. So we had some different guys battling some injuries during the year that took away from us becoming cohesive, I thought, early in the year, which I've always said it doesn't matter to me. I think the league hates me for saying it because I've quoted a few times as saying we play 20 scrimmages. Because when you get to this weekend, all the records go out the door. Yeah. You don't want to be a playing team because that means you got to win 4 to win it. And you got to find a way at the end of the day to win 3. There's never been a team to win 4 to win it. It's always been 3. So you want to be in that position to not have to be in the playing game. That's what you're really playing for with the regular season. But the thing I thought that made the difference for us more than anything last night was that our kids stayed composed. Like, we knew Casey was going to come and get hot.
What was your plan for 14?
It's crazy as it sounds. I never planned for one guy.
Okay.
I've always said the one guy can get his, but we need to make it hard for him. Right. But we can't let 3, 4, and 5 get off. And throughout the playoffs, our defense probably was what caused us to be able to win it all. And we didn't let those 3, 4, and 5 guys get off. When you look at their stat lines, they had 3 guys in double figures, but it was almost like really those second and third was 1 because we held Casey under 20. Yep. He had just scored 34 on us, where he scored 20-something in the second half. Mm-hmm. I always felt that if we held him to 20 and kept everybody else in the teens, 11 and below, we would be fine because I felt like the way that our guys can score, and I felt like the way that we play defense, we could hold our own. And as you said, we started off the game really clicking on all cylinders.
Sharp.
We were running our stuff.
You were sharp.
We got baskets in easy ways through running our offense and allowing ball reversals to happen versus taking quick shots. Against Paul VI the night before, they go zone. We settle for jumpers. I think 4 of our first 5 shots were all jump shots, and that's a formula for destruction against any of the teams in the WCAC, especially if you're not making them.
Great. You guys started the second half with the ball, I think.
Yes.
And you had a great play. It just was run to perfection. You took the ball right from half court, and I think you scored in about 5 or 6 seconds. It was good looking on it. I remember we commented on it. I was like, that's good
your
execution.
reaction was a dead giveaway. That was there was something to be said. That play was drawn up at some point. You knew what you were getting into. That was not the first rodeo.
It wasn't a normal play that we run. It wasn't a draw up. I just talked them through it. You're looking for this action. If you don't get it, we're going here. We didn't get the first action because the first action was to try to get Anwar on a quick backdoor, and our 2 bigs played right off each other. We got it in the post and got a bucket.
Coach, it's okay to tell them we discussed that play that morning.
Yeah. I had
do you
a dream.
Have you seen the pattern that he keeps trying to bring some accolade back to himself?
Well, he's coached a lot of these guys, so he definitely feels a part of this.
Sure, he should,
and he should because he's helped a lot of these guys grow in their games with a lot of the all-season workouts he does with them.
And that was evident in the broadcast. It was very fun to be a part of with your expertise with some of these young guys. And I think some of these young guys might be able to get back on here and let us know about your pregame ritual as a coach, because I know it involves gummy bears, airheads. We're talking about all kinds of candy. You're begging, tracking for gummy bears the whole
Sour
game.
Patch Kids.
I hope no one got the wrong impression.
Red Bull, all of it. But no, it was special.
Sugar-free Red Bull.
Absolutely. It was special to see, and all through that conference is full of guys that I've worked with since they were young. Do they call it elementary school? Lower school? What do they call it?
Yeah, elementary.
Yeah, elementary school.
Grade school.
Grade school. Well, I've been with these guys and worked with them since they were so young, and to see, the evolution of their game and how they've improved and how they've grown I remember
for
talking to
goodness
him like
sake.
this, and now I'm talking to him like this. So it's very, very special to see these young men growing from kids growing to young men and see their families and how happy their moms and their dads are and their siblings. The look on their faces when they achieve something this special, and it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
And I one time I tell you, Casey Morcell hit a jumper in rhythm on the break when John Wilson handed it to him on the side, and I said something like,
Rhythm.
"That's his layup, right in rhythm."
Rhythm.
And he comes back and gives me a wink. That's special right there.
Ken, you said something about number 14. I mean, that was our thing that we talked about, not letting him get rhythm shots off the break. He's really good at it. I mean, I think the kid's a pro. Like, I think if you talk about any of the kids in our conference, he's the one guy right now that I say has a chance to really play for some money. And he's picked the right school to be able to do it at.
It's a perfect fit, isn't it, Coach?
I mean, I think he's a better offensive version of Malcolm Brogdon to play in that system.
It's tough.
That's
It's a tough act to follow
that's a
right
good
there.
comparison
And
to be made.
that's very good accolades and support from a fellow coach in this conference.
Oh, man, he's one of the ones that got away. Believe me, I wanted that one.
Right?
Well,
I
one
think
that didn't
Turgeon
get
feels the
away,
same
one
way.
that didn't get away that we talked about a lot for the whole weekend was Anwar Gill, a guy that
Swiss
I
Army
think
knife.
in the championship game certainly contributed a lot in terms of points and stuff like that. But I think he contributes more doing all the things that don't show up on a stat sheet.
I like to call him. This year his nickname was Stat Stuffer.
Yeah.
There were nights where I think he probably felt like he could go for 20, but his stat line would be 9, 10 boards, 6 assists.
But he did so many
steals.
other things that helped you win the game.
He did. I think the play that probably shows it the most is the dive on the floor and got the loose ball.
For the easy layup. Yep.
It's a perfect example.
Not that he doesn't ever do it, but it's not something you see all the time. And having a conversation with him, prior to the playoffs where he said, "Hey, Coach," he texted me the night before, "Can I meet you in the office?" I'm be honest with you, I thought he was coming to my office to start talking to me about recruitment. And I was like, all right, how am I going to get him to not think about this right now? But his question to me was, what else can I do? I want the championship coach. What else can I do for our team?
Well, it
And
showed.
What do you need from me? And I said, the biggest thing is I think you're one of the best defenders in our league. If you step your defensive game up to another level, you're going to make the rest of our team play to that level, and it'll be what wins us the championship. I talked to a good friend, hopefully I'm not talking out of turn for him, but I talked to Glenn Farello this morning, and we were talking some basketball stuff, and he said to me, "Steve, the difference in this tournament, your team's 3 days of defense.
Yeah.
That's why you won."
Yeah.
Oh, we saw
Yeah.
2 of those days, and checked a little bit out on the other end. I thought I was watching I thought I was watching Dwayne Wade play high school basketball. He was slashing to the rim, but his excitement about defending anyone, and he was coming up full court. He did not, and I watched him get in his stance, and I thought to myself, I'm so happy I don't have to bring the ball up right now. I'm sitting over here eating hot dogs and hanging out with these cats. It was sick to watch. He was a bad dude.
I don't think a lot of people know his background. So the last 2 seasons, he's been hurt. Like, we won the championship 3 years ago. He's the only ring that I still have in my desk. Like, he didn't feel like he contributed to it, so he's never come to pick up his ring. It's still sitting in my desk, and he said that, like,
Wow.
I gotta help us win a championship. It's something that has to happen for me before I walk out these doors. And those last 2 seasons were devastating to him, and all he wanted to do was win a championship this year, and he gave everything of himself for us to be able to do
That's
it.
exactly what he
Coach.
said.
That's special.
Coach, let me just say this. Dwayne Simpkins hit a buzzer beater my sophomore year. So if you need some more space in that desk of yours, I'd be happy to take that Anwar ring off your
But coming from a coach's point of view, and Strack, you hit the nail on the head. And I made references during the broadcast that he's the perfect tool to have in your toolbox. And You called it. We've got Home Depot out here.
Yeah,
I
that's
remember
right.
that.
That's
So
a
it's like,
fact.
I like
you
that.
know,
I like that.
to be able to have that kind of wingspan, and it's a luxury as a coach to have a player that can guard 1 through 5 effectively.
Yeah.
You know, not just go out there and try it, but effectively guard 1 through 5. And there was one play I saw. He challenged. There might have been Darius Maddox or Casey Morcell at the rim, blocked it, grabbed it himself, went coast to coast, and finished with the offhand. Nobody else touched the ball. It was an individual, big time play, 94 feet of excellence, and I was like, this kid has come to play. Mm-hmm. And when you say that he really, really wanted to walk out of those doors with that championship, it showed. It showed all weekend.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk to him and Terrence after the game. Had him over to the broadcast desk, and they put on the headsets and joined us for a little discussion. And I was impressed by him on the floor. I was impressed by him just getting a chance to talk to him after the game. I wonder. I think I might have even said, hey, your days of being underappreciated or under-recruited are well over. Anyone who watches. One of the things, and I wanted to ask you this question, because you talked about one that got away in Casey, and we talk about getting into those kitchens as a recruiting mechanism. How do people go to games? Because they're going to recruit everyone else in the gym when you're in the WCAC. Everyone's coming to see these teams play. How do you miss Anwar Gill?
Call these recruiters out.
Yeah.
I think too many guys hear another guy say something. So the knock on Anwar is that he's not a shooter. Well, I say to them, you guys are waiting to just find one shooter, and you're going to be fired. Mm-hmm. Like, you need to find winners. The kid is a winner. He does a lot of things to help you win and be able to be successful so you can keep a job. If you're telling me you're a coach and he can't shoot, then isn't that your job to make him better? So
yeah, that's what,
no one's getting a finished product. I mean, we could talk Zion Williams, we can talk R.J. Barrett. None of them are finished products, and these are guys who are going to be drafted in the top 5 in the next draft. They all have a lot to do. I mean, personally, they're going to both be drafted higher. I think Cam Reddish is the best pro prospect on that team.
That's where I'm at, Coach. I agree. I want him to come to the Wizards, but I don't think we're going to get him.
He's the guy of those 3 guys that's going to make the most money when it's all said and done, because his game is prototypical for what the NBA is about right now.
Yep.
6'8", can shoot the ball, can put it on the deck.
Yep.
All he's got to do is knock down shots, and he can play at the rim, and he's going to be able to guard bigger guards in the league as he grows into his game.
And my dad went to Duke. I'm a Duke fan, and you're absolutely right. And he's working through a progress. He started off slow this year, and he coach told him not just to be a jump shooter. Forget about your jump shot. He's playing some of the best defense on the team right now. Didn't see what happened tonight, but 6'8" with that length and who's willing to play. That's like how I felt about getting picked up full court by Anwar. You just don't want that.
Well, in my opinion, he was the MVP of the tournament.
In our opinion,
that was unanimous.
Yes. Well, no, I didn't mean to exclude.
No,
you.
I know.
Saying,
I'm throwing in my 2 cents.
Yeah,
for Anwar to be the MVP of the WCAC, in our opinion, the best conference in the nation, to not be getting any kind of recognition for or look that he should be getting.
Just all that's going to change.
We're like puzzled.
Well, I think you also have a problem that a lot of these guys put their stock into what goes on in the summertime with their AAU teams. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen an AAU team that stacks up to what the college game is like compared to when you watch kids play with their high school. Right. So I think some of these guys follow the Twitter. They follow these national scouting services, guys who, in my opinion, probably never played a basketball game, but they are the end-all, be-all, and say-all for a kid. And if that's how you're recruiting, just by following that, and you're not going to hear from coaches. I'm not one to toot my own horn, but we've been point guard you. Mm-hmm. Like, I know a guard that can play at the next level. I've had a kid almost in every school in the ACC in my career now at Gonzaga. And when I'm calling you to say that this kid can play and you don't come and look or even ask for film, there's something wrong with you. You probably shouldn't have that job.
That's right.
So I think he's going to get what he wants in the end.
Sure.
I think because he's dedicated himself to being about his team, and I mean it's proof is in the pudding today. As many calls I'm getting about him.
Sure.
everyone's process is different. It's been my message to parents all the time. It's one of the things I talked about the last time you guys had me on the air. Mm-hmm. Everyone sees the kid next to their kid or their kid's best friend getting it now, and then they start panicking and thinking, why is it mine?
Right.
Well, God's will is different for everybody. Everyone's time is going to come when it's supposed to come. And for Anwar Gill, there were a couple of injuries that derailed that. He believed in the process. He allowed things to happen for himself, and it's going to all come back to him in the
Big
end.
time stuff right there.
Before we
I'm going to interrupt real quick. I want to
Yeah.
make sure I'm just going to raise my hand on the film so we know when to cut and edit that take that we just
Yes,
heard
yes,
from
yes.
start to finish.
Yeah.
Made as much sense to me as I've heard anyone put it.
Yep.
Well said, Coach. I'm going to take that and run with it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ken,
build a whole new wing on the basement based on that.
Listen, man, I'm just telling you, everyone's process is different. Like I just wrote it down right here. I coach a different sport every season with the little ones, older 7th and 8th grade down to the 3rd grade, and about. Man, you just gave me a gold nugget right there, Coach, from the start to finish right there. That made a lot of sense of the process of the AAU versus the high school and all that, and the whole recruiting thing. Well said.
Ken, before we get off, I do want to recognize 3 dynamic juniors that he does have on. That
Coming
Yeah, no,
back.
that's what I was going to say.
Coming back.
Because I want to go out. I want everyone to think about it. The last thing we're going to do when we go out, we got 5 people here. Everyone gets 1 pick. We're going to
Okay.
do an all-tournament poker table team, basement team for the 2 days, the Sunday, Monday. But before we do that, I did want because I wanted to lead it off with a little Miles Studi. I want to ask him Miles. I want to ask you a question about him. And
don't forget about Terrence Icewater.
oh no.
Williams.
Who reminded us that he has another year and he's looking forward to coming
Yeah,
back.
actually, I called
after
him
the
a
game.
senior, and he was like, "I'm a junior."
Yeah, I got another year of
That's
this.
right. That's right.
All right, so I'm a dummy and I don't know anything, and so but I try to act like I do sometimes. And I
You
thought
do that well, sir.
Thank
you do that
very
well.
well. It's sometimes it's not just an act. Against Paul VI on Sunday, he seemed to struggle. It looked like he was playing outside more early, and then to me, we saw the team succeed more when he came inside, and it was more of an effort to get him the ball inside. So I don't know if Paul VI, by the way, for anyone who doesn't understand, they're freaking great.
Oh,
hell of a game plan.
Yeah,
they had,
their
too.
defense was. It looked. I thought they had 10 guys on the floor at certain points of that game. But Studi, I think he made a difference on that game, and I thought that it was on the inside that it became apparent. Shocker, he can jump 15 feet high. So, and then that carried over into the final. So we'll just talk a little bit about him and his contribution.
What we talked about in that game was getting into halftime. We didn't bring the fight to them. Mm-hmm. They really brought the fight to us. I felt like, I talk about throwing that first punch. We never threw a punch in the first half. We settled for jump shots. We didn't play inside out. We got the ball inside and really didn't even look at the basket at times. Thank God for Anwar because steals and deflections kept us in the game. When we were able to get in the transition against them
Swiss
and
Army
not allow
knife.
them to get to the zone, that played effective for us. I challenged Studi. I said, hey, you've lost the battle. You've lost the
There you
battle
go.
twice against these guys who you play with in the summer. Like, these are your teammates. You know them inside out. As a matter of fact, the guy you're battling plays behind you. It's time for you to take over. And I said, taking over doesn't mean you got to score points. You can affect this game in other ways, blocking shots at the rim and go rebound the ball. His rebounding in the second half is a big part of why we got to the championship. I mean, he got at least 3 offensive rebounds in key moments that allowed us to continue possession or get a bucket.
It was fun to watch.
That's interesting because, I said this a lot too. You've got, in this conference, you've got guys that either play with each other or against each other all year round. Mm-hmm. You every matchup, you've got big-time players that are teammates in the spring and summer or big-time players that are foes in the spring and summer that play in big-time games. So as a coach, you look at that and you say, you've been there before. You've been here. You've been in this situation, and so it's easy to pull him to the side and say something like that and get him motivated. Go ahead.
What was frustrating for me in that game, when they went to that zone, that's a takeover zone. So all these kids who play for me that play for takeover, have seen the zone, have played defense as a player in the zone, and we weren't taking advantage of something that they worked against regularly and knew.
Absolutely.
Like, when we lost to them in the double overtime game at their place late in the year, they threw that play at us on our last opportunity where we could have taken the game and won. Chuck decides to settle for a jump shot where he had Studi coming, setting the back screen on Trevor. And if you watch the tape after the game, all he had to do was turn off the ball screen. He had a layup. And he settled. And so I told him, I said, you're going to see this zone again. And sure enough, they came right out in it. I love Glenn, but I don't know why he didn't stay with it.
Yeah.
It was
I think he was
oppressive.
I think he knew that you were trying to adjust to it, and by getting you fixated on how to adjust that, he threw at you a man-to-man.
When I decided at one point, I just said, the heck with it. Like, we weren't really moving the ball in our regular zone offense. I called our man offense. And it got us moving. And it started creating space and started creating angles. Then when we were able to chip away, it's what got us back in the game and gave us the opportunity to win.
What do we have?
13-point deficit, Coach.
Yeah.
13 points.
Guys, what do we have to look forward to in this conference? We make references to top 100 guy in the 2020 class, top 50 guy in the 2020 class, top 30, top 20.
Yeah.
And it's so much talent. And then the 2021 class coming behind that. And then let's talk about the 2022 class.
2022.
You know, we've got stud after stud after stud, next man up. So
The league, man.
you know, I
the league.
know Coach Turner is salivating about what he has coming back, and as well as other coaches in this league, in this conference. I mean, you know, that have talent coming right behind talent.
Yeah. Like
You
what,
know,
like what Paula Six did this year when they
and
lost 9 stars worth of guards.
It's special. It's a
Well,
special conference, special talent.
I think Paula Six was the example of what I talked about earlier, trusting and respecting the process. Would Doug McDaniel be playing the minutes he's playing with Ann Harris still there?
That's a
Roach.
scary.
And Jeremy
that's a
Roach still there.
It's a scary topic to think about.
But, you know, we talk about the battles, but it's what I said to Glenn. Like, we talked when this happened. You know, we reach out to each other. You have compassion for each other the same way everybody was calling out to me when I lost Prentice for the whole year last year.
Yep.
And I said to Glenn, he's like, what am I going to do? I said, I'm going to tell you this. And I said, I'm probably going to kill myself for telling you this. It's going to be your easiest coaching job. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
You get to groom some young guys. Now some guys get to step into some different roles. I said, you're going to have more fun coaching this team than you would have had coaching Ant and Jeremy this year, because in that situation, you're sitting back and saying, don't let me mess it up.
Yeah.
Now it's like I can put my imprint and put my input on these guys to make us be the best team we can be, and that's what you saw them do all year long.
Yep. Hats off to Trevor and Aduro and Avery, and I mean, Doug was just amazing. And
Blown away.
Awesome program. Terrence Williams is coming back. Devin Dinkins is coming back. Chuck Harris, I believe, right?
Now you're gonna turn that theory back around on Coach. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
Yeah, no, I'm saying-
Let him relax.
Yeah. Don't
Let him
screw it
relax
up
for a
next
minute.
year, Steve. All right? Do not screw it up. All right?
Hey, you got to remember, Paul the Sixth will have more because
That's
they
right.
got some bias. They got
right.
a
Yeah.
bad boy coming
That's
back.
right.
Yeah, they sure do.
DeMatha's got him coming back. St. John's got him coming
Yep.
back. They're all coming back.
Well,
They're all coming back.
Well, you see all the young guys who got some spot minutes at times this year. Like Darren said, that 2022 class is pretty special in our league, and there's some guys who haven't even really seen the floor yet that are gonna shine next year, coming up off of JVs or guys who were just on the varsity benches. I think I got 2 that didn't really see as much minutes as they would love to have as a freshman, but they're gaining invaluable experiences.
Steve, that is a great point, because you've got the stage of all stages, the brightest of lights. And when they're on the floor at Bender Arena, this butter popcorn time that we talk about all the time.
That was his other phrase, butter popcorn.
For a freshman or a sophomore to get that experience, and then not even just the freshmen or sophomores that are on the sideline and they're right there and they're into the game and they're like this, you know what, that's me next year. That is me. So just that whole adrenaline rush is progress.
Well, you look at it, 2 championships ago, or 3 years ago, Chuck's sitting behind Prentice Hub.
Absolutely.
Chris Lice. Studi sitting behind T.
Absolutely.
Miles Dredd, and now those guys had 3 years of experience being in that light. I think that was another piece that people don't talk about is the guys who, for me, playing in this weekend's tournament, have been in the championship for 3 years in a row, and so the lights weren't too bright.
Yep.
To be able to have the resilience to come back from 13 down against Paul VI is because they've been there before, and that's what we talked about. Now it's like, look, we're not going to panic. We've been here. How many other times in your career have you been down by this and we found ways to chip it back? I told him I set a goal. 4 points going to the fourth. I used some choice things.
Sure.
The sphincter's going to get tight.
Yeah.
The pressure's not on us. We're playing. I told him we were playing with house money.
Yeah.
You just got to relax, chip away at this. We're not going for home runs.
Yeah.
If you get this to 4 going into the fourth, we're winning the game. 44-40. We win the game.
Yeah.
Guys, it was shoulder-to-shoulder crowd, standing room only in there, and there were a bunch of middle school, elementary school kids there
Checking it out,
and wanting to be on that stage one day. A lot of talent in there. That's recruiting within itself.
And that's not even talking about Vinnie Moore's 3-point, display at halftime. Because he has all of his fans. Listen, we're gonna come back with more from Coach Turner on the Hot Box. I'm going to get us out.
Stay with us, Coach.
Going to get us out on an all-tournament team, and I think it's important. It's not done. People don't do it anymore. We ain't going to do – it's not going to be 6 or 7 players. It's only going to be 5. Everyone gets 1 pick. Would anyone like to start?
I'll go last.
Okay, you go last.
How many players do we get?
5. 1 each. 5 total. All-tournament team. Everyone gets to put 1 on the team. You want to lead us off here, Darren?
I'm going to go with Cornbread Earl and me, Earl Timberlake.
Okay, I like it. I'm going to write that down. Earl Timberlake. I thought about him, and I had a hard time. I thought DeMatha should have gone through him the entire game. I not to second-guess a coach who's way smarter than me, but I don't understand when he's there with what he's able to do. I felt like, give him the ball every time down.
These are the best coaches in the country.
I know they are.
You keep making that reference. They're way smarter.
Way smarter than me.
Hey,
way smarter than me.
Hey, let's edit that take right there as well. I'm just saying.
I know it. If you're not going to say him, I will.
No, I'm going to say him first because I'm just saying,
Yeah.
listen, we watched a young man up close miss the front end of a 1-on-1 at home, and the game was within reach against DeMatha. Casey Morcell missed another front end of the 1-on-1 in the semifinal, and you could see the look of desperation in his face, but he's a winner, and that St. John's has won by playing great defense, and that defensive play he made on Justin Moore at the end of that game with a shot block to seal the win for the Cadets, to get them into the finals. Forget about the layup 40-footers that he hits. Yep. That showed me he's a two-way player. That showed me that Tony Bennett is super lucky, and he will be a superstar in the ACC. And Coach took it a second further and said they might be paying him big dollars someday.
He's going to make
shout out to
ball.
Matt, the real deal seal. He captured that moment.
Fingertips.
Fingertips.
Yeah.
Nice picture.
Awesome photo.
You got your
That
one
might be
pick.
your new
I got my
nickname,
5.
Seal.
No. You only
Fingertips.
get 1 pick.
I like
We're only
it.
picking one.
Everyone gets to put a guy on the team. It's a 5-man
Okay,
team.
so who we got?
He went Cornbread
Earl, and
Timberlake.
me.
Casey
He went
Morcell's on the
Timberlake.
team. Coach is going last.
Morcell.
Do you want to go next, or do you want me to go?
I can go next.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go with Anwar.
All right. Well, I love it because it spices up the last pick
Anwar,
of the
Swiss
team.
Army knife.
MVP of the tournament.
Gill.
Yep.
Swiss.
I mean,
I couldn't agree more. I thought he
Call
stood
him Swiss for
right
sure.
off.
Anwar
If you
Swiss
were watching
Gill.
the game, he jumped off the court to your eyes. And he jumped off the court a million other
and
ways.
if you got to throw in, the all tournament team has to be the most rounded team. He was the most rounded guy. The defense, all of it, the hustle points, the stat stuffer. I think it all.
He had that one
Without a doubt,
one
he'd be
play
my first.
with his left hand where he raced 3 defenders to the rim. And it was a hard. I mean, the ball we call it. I mean, it was soft in the sense, but he
Dibsy do. Did we? That's what we call it?
he jammed it in and was off the backboard. But he beat 3 defenders to the rim
Speed.
around the side. He deserves every bit of it. We all look forward to watching him again. I'm gonna do
Swiss.
something that I think is very important. I don't think this all tournament team is possible. Should exist without AZ Fudd. We watched. I said the whole weekend, everything we saw, and I think
So we're going with boys and girls.
Absolutely,
well,
absolutely.
he
I
just-
just said all
he
tournament teams.
He just went
See,
there.
this is
Yeah.
what he
You
does.
that's off now.
Steve,
man.
this
Yeah,
is what
I'm
he
throwing
does.
you off.
Hey.
I'm throwing you a little bit off, but I think that she absolutely belongs on a starting five from a weekend of basketball that we just watched. We watched it all, and I don't think there's a coach as smart as these coaches are. There's not a coach among them who wouldn't figure out a way to get her freed up for shots that she would be
Good pick.
making.
Good pick.
One of 5 Naismith Award finalists announced this morning by USA Today.
Yep.
The only sophomore on the list. I think she's the front runner.
She makes my all tournament team, boys and girls combined.
We might need 8. We might need 8 to 10 because Aaliyah,
I know.
JBT.
And I'm rocking it right here, and I love every second of it.
Malu.
What do you got, Coach? You get to put the last one on, and Anwar's in. So it gives
See,
you.
I wasn't going to. I'm not the one that's going to go for one of my guys. I would hope that
Good.
you guys take care of that. But now that you threw the monkey wrench in with the girls,
Yeah.
and the problem is I can't. I forget her name. She's a McNamara girl.
JBT.
JBT. Jakia Brown Turner.
Nope.
Aaliyah.
Madison Scott.
Turner would get it just because she got the right name.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Family first.
But
Aaliyah Matharu.
number 2,
Yeah,
Yes.
Aaliyah Matharu.
her defense is game changing. Her ability to get hands on balls, her ability to have the toughness to take the deep three when she probably shouldn't and knocks it down. I'm a defensive guy. Juice knows. That was what I did in high school. My job was to guard the other team's best guy. And it's something that I feel like when I took over for Coach Myers is what I tried to add to what he did with the program was something that was about me. Like
Put your
we're-
stamp on
put
it.
my stamp on it. We're going to play defense. If you don't do that, you can't play. So I got to go with her as the 5th on the 5.
I think it's a nice
Awesome.
five.
That's an awesome five.
Okay, that is an awesome
Yes.
five from an entire weekend of basketball. Definitely.
Earl Timberlake, Casey Morcell, Anwar Gill, AZ Fudd, Aaliyah Matharu. I'm so excited. The McNamara person made it. I didn't pick
That
him.
five right there might give everybody else some trouble.
WCAC Spectacular Tournament team. You said you got a last thought here?
Yeah, I do.
What do you got?
I do want to give a shout out to the young fella, Terrence Williams,
Yep.
Big T. Had a tough go at it in the semifinals. Couldn't
he
find
did.
the mark, but came back very big in the championship game. And those free throws down the stretch, young players, you have to look at this. This is the stage of all stages. This is butter pop. You smell the butter popcorn popping up top, the hot pretzel. The lights are so bright,
Nachos.
and you have the fan base behind you. They're all like this, twiddling their little fingers, ready to whoop. And it was like 6 opportunities, and he stepped up there, ice water in his veins, and knocked those shots down. And when the last one, to put them up 4, when he knew that was it, there's no way that St. John's could win it. I saw it look in his face, and those are big-time players, big-time plays, and I take my hat off to that young man.
He's my guy, and I'll have to add to that is that in the semis, what people don't understand is that he knew he didn't have it going scoring-wise. I've been harping on our guys all season long about his unselfish play, and I think at times these outside influences sometimes creep in. I like one of my assistant coaches says it best. He said, coaching now is 51st dates.
Yeah.
We have to redate our kids every single day because of the white noise that they hear once they leave the gym.
Yeah.
And T did some things in that game that the person who's not a coach wouldn't understand. He knew that he didn't have it going, so it was play through me. Let me get touches, and I'm going to find you guys to make the right plays. And he did that for us, and I knew what he was going to bring to the table on Monday night because he didn't have it going the way he wanted. And you saw how he came out and started the game. He came out with his Jason Tatum fadeaway. He knocked down a big 3. I still say the best play he made of the night was the shot fake to the 3, and then he ripped it and went to the rim. And I say that was the most unselfish play he made because most nights in regular season, he's taking a shot after the guy ran by and just would have settled for the jump shot. Those guys, him, Anwar, Chuck, Studi, the whole crew, gave of themselves in the most crucial moments for us to be able to have success and win the championship.
He also showed shooting touch in the
Oh,
first half of that game that
really
we didn't
soft
see
touch.
against Paula Six, and I think he got a healthy dose of JoJo Freeman, if I'm not mistaken, on Sunday, as did a lot of people. Shout out to JoJo. That was a great game by him. In the first half of the championship, Terrence Williams kind of rose up, working his body, and shots were falling for him in a way we hadn't seen Sunday, but in a way that you were like, okay, obviously that's why everyone talks about Terrence Williams. I mean, look at what he's doing.
Oh, when you see a shooter and the ball goes in after touching the rim 2 or 3 times, you know what it is. It's a feeling. It's a touch. It's a feathery, soft touch, and he's got suction cup hands and a nice feel for the game.
He
and a feel
does.
And he's a special player.
I
He's a
love how
special
he
player.
held his hand right there like this, and I read today that his mom put out there on Twitter, which this is an emotional time of year and family comes first, that when he gets to the free throw line, he thinks of his grandmother and his special angel in heaven, and she wrote there today that he knew and she knew that's who he was thinking about there with those 2 free throws, and neither one of them came close to scraping any touch of the rim. That was
I noticed
net.
that on his free throw, he holds it there close to his heart.
Yep.
I noticed that, and he's a special player. You're lucky to have him coming back.
Definitely. I'm going to give you one last tidbit on him.
Okay.
The number 5. So when we changed jerseys a couple years ago, he wore a different number his freshman year. And so he told me, Coach, I want number 5. And I'm looking at this big dude saying, like, why you want this little number? And I'm trying to think of NBA players, who it is he might have liked. He's like, so I said one day, I was like, T, why do you want number 5?
Colt Brennan.
Nope. Coach, on the 5th day, God made animals.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'm going to write that one down too, Coach.
I'm changing my number.
Day.
Yeah.
Now I got to know what day everything got
The Lord
created.
made animals.
Yes. All right. Hey, listen. This is awesome. We're going to keep this trophy on the table. We're going to keep it going for another round of the Hot Box coming up right after this. We're going to be back here next Tuesday night talking about the greatest high school sports conference in the land on the WCAC Spectacular. Thanks for joining us all weekend long. Thank you so much for giving us your free subscriptions. It's free, guys, right?
It's
Just hit on it.
totally free.
It's
Like,
free.
we don't ask
Just
for
hit the
anything.
we ask for
Smash.
nothing. Smash the subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. Kevin Ricka?
I'm telling you guys this. I could listen to this guy all
Yes.
day long. I know this might have gone a little further than anything. Hey, from the night before you got the job, giving me the heads up that you were getting it and it would be announced the next morning. I appreciate that. And also, I'm going to have Joe Rada draft my fantasy basketball and football teams moving forward in life. Congratulations to the Gonzaga Eagles and to you, Coach. You've been a class act with us
Thank
and
you.
with me from day one. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
And absolutely, Coach.
Tim Strachan?
2 quick things to all the other schools out there. You know, you guys can win these things, okay? We don't have to always do this with Gonzaga. But to the second point, congratulations, Coach. Congratulate to Gonzaga, to the kids, to the students, to the administration, the faculty, everybody. You guys doing great things down there on I Street, man.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
He's Darren McClinton.
I want to thank you for coming out, man. Less than 24 hours.
Yes, no doubt.
Of an emotional, big-time win, man. Congratulations. We're going to have a little bit more from you coming up next in the Hot Box.
Appreciate you, D.
Head coach, Gonzaga, Purple Eagles, your 2018-19 WCAC basketball champions. We are fastly becoming the Gonzaga Championship Network. We
God, that
challenge all the
sucks.
rest of you guys out there to call. Although St. John's did actually win a championship in this weekend, and it was glorious. Glorious.
Shout out Coach
Cadets.
Cribb.
That's right.
Coach
Shout out
Cribb.
Coach Cribb.
Coach
St.
Cribb got
John's.
his 5th, puts him on the all-time leader of most WCAC girls.
Oh, he'll
coaching.
be here.
There you
He'll
go.
be here to
We're
talk
getting him
about
back.
it.
He's
He's
been here. and
outside.
he'll be
Like,
back.
right around the corner.
He's right around. It's like, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, come back and see us next Tuesday night. Until then, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the WCAC Spectacular. Thank you so much,
that was
Coach.
just fantastic,
Great stuff,
man.
man. Great stuff.
We're still live. Yeah, can you exit us out of there?
I can't believe we didn't do that for 3